Members, it's the appointed time. I call to order the meeting of the Panel on Information Technology and Broadcasting. Welcome to this meeting. It's the appointed time and we have a quorum. I call to order the meeting. Agenda item 1, information papers issued since the last meeting. Since the last meeting, the Secretariat has not issued any information paper. Agenda item 2, items for discussion at the next meeting. So the next regular meeting will be held in May. It will be held at 2:30 p.m. on the 11th of May. It's a Monday. The administration proposes discussing the following item. That is facilitating cross-boundary data flow within the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, Greater Bay Area. That's the first item on the list of outstanding items for discussion. Do members agree? All right. Next agenda item. I'll first invite the government officials to come in. Agenda item 3, development of the digital corporate identity platform. Coming into the meeting room, we have Undersecretary for Innovation, Ms. Lilian Cheung, Acting Commissioner for DPO, Mr. Daniel Cheung Yi-Wai, as well as Mr. Benny Leung, Assistant Commissioner from the DPO, and Mr. Francis Chang, Principal Assistant Secretary for Innovation, Technology and Industry. I believe the administration is ready. Please refer to LC paper number CB-2 472/2026-02. It's the paper provided by the administration. As for the background brief prepared by the Legislative Secretariat, as well as the PowerPoint presentation from the administration, they have already been sent to members prior to the meeting. Members who would like to speak, please press the Request to Speak button. Now I will first invite Undersecretary Ms. Lilian Cheung to walk us through the paper. Afterwards, they will give a PowerPoint presentation. Thank you, Chairman. Today, we're here to report to members on the latest progress on the development of the Digital Corp ID platform. Digital Corp ID is crucial to the development of digital economy and the smart city in Hong Kong. It is also a crucial element for us to create a business-friendly environment. With the rapid development of technology, digital transformation plays an important role to enhance business efficiency. With the support of LegCo as well as various sectors of the community, we are currently working at full steam to develop the Digital Corp ID platform. Our goal is to build a safe, trustworthy, standardized, highly scalable and interoperable digital ID platform. We hope that by promoting digital transformation, we can facilitate business. This is not just to enhance service efficiency to benefit the public. It is also to upgrade the business transaction ecosystem and to inject new impetus to our economy. As we develop this platform, we have made reference to the experiences of various places. We are currently working at full steam to develop this platform. In June 2024, the government was given the approval from LegCo to get a $3 million funding. And afterwards, we launched the tendering exercise and we conducted analysis. In 2025, the DPO and the Cyberport rolled out a sandbox program to facilitate the development of the ecosystem. So far, there have been 100 private and public organizations taking part in the sandbox program. As said, we are working in full steam to launch the platform. We believe that by the middle of this year, we'll be able to have the platform interface with different platforms. We believe that by the end of this year, the Corp ID platform will be officially launched. From the launch as well as the implementation to the platform, it only takes us about 2 years. The platform provides identity authentication, digital signing, pre-filling of forms, as well as document wallet and AI assistant functions. There will be a one-stop service platform. Also, under IM Smart, we're going to introduce a mini program so that corporate users can, at any time they like, conduct transactions. We believe that at the initial phase of the launch of the platform, we'll be able to connect the platform with 200 e-government services provided by the government, as well as public and private organizations, as well as e-forms, and they'll cover taxation, government funding scheme, as well as finance and other dimensions. We have already asked all relevant government departments that provide e-government services to, within 18 months after the launch of this platform, to support the platform to boost the usage rate of the Corp ID platform. We also value the compliance of users as well as the platform. We align with international standards, and there are multi-layered defense and protection measures, and there are stringent authorization in place to make sure that the information source is secure, and this is to ensure data security and privacy protection. We believe that by 2028 there will be over 800 e-government services that would support the Corp ID platform. We're also actively exploring with mainland counterparts as well as international organizations to facilitate the use of the Corp ID platform so that we can help expand the businesses in other places. Now I will ask Mr. Benny Leung, Assistant Commissioner, to brief members on the details of the platform. Afterwards, we will listen to members' views and respond to members' questions. Thank you. Mr. Benny Leung. Thank you, Chairman. I will now brief members on the latest progress on the development of the digital Corp ID platform to create a business-friendly environment and promote digital economy and digital transformation. In 2024, we got the funding approval of $3 million from LegCo to launch the digital Corp ID platform that covers G2B as well as B2B services. The Corp ID platform provides Corp ID authentication as well as other services for companies in Hong Kong established or registered under the Companies Ordinance and local businesses registered under the Business Registration Ordinance. Corp ID serves as a key that enables digital signing, and compared with company chops, this is more reliable. The Corp ID key can also facilitate data interoperability. Corp ID helps build a secure, trustworthy, standardized, highly scalable, and interoperable digital identity platform, which helps promote digital transformation and data exchange. After we got the funding approval from LegCo in 2025, we worked full steam to complete the tendering exercise. We awarded the service contract. We completed the design analysis of the system. We also rolled out the sandbox program. Currently, we're conducting the proof of concept testing for about 100 service users. We believe that we'll be able to launch the platform by the end of this year. The platform provides digital signing, document wallet, and AI assistant functions. As for identity authentication, the platform will be linked with the company registry as well as the IRD's platform and databases so that users could quickly identify or verify the identity, and also a third-party authentication would be allowed. Currently, company chops are still widely used in traditional business activities. With the development of document digitization and the widespread adoption of digital signature, the platform will issue a digital certificate to each corporation, and it will serve as a company chop so that users could use the certificate for transactions. IM Smart Plus will replace the existing traditional physical signatures. This helps save time and reduce costs as well as the risk of commercial fraud. Also, there will be the form pre-filling function, which enables corporate users to authorize the extraction of information registered on the platform. This helps streamline the procedure. And also, there will be the document wallet function. For example, business registration certificates as well as other kinds of certificates could be stored on the platform. The platform makes use of blockchain technology to enhance or ensure authenticity and integrity of licenses and certificates. Also, for SMEs, the platform will recommend government funding schemes as well as provide different kinds of information to SMEs to help them make good use of government resources. As a secure and standardized digital corporate ID authentication system, Corp ID can facilitate cross-departmental, cross-corporation, and even cross-border ID authentication. This is to save time and boost efficiency. The platform will be linked up with the Consented Data Exchange Gateway as well as the Commercial Data Interchange of the HKMA. The Corp ID platform will also support the interchange, and once corporations get the relevant information, they can boost their efficiency. Hong Kong as an international trading and financial center, we will incorporate a identifier that is widely used on the platform, such as LEI, Legal Entity Identifier, as well as the DUNS number. We are actively exploring the feasibility of mutual recognition and interoperability of corporate identities with the mainland, such as Guangdong and Shanghai, to assist local corporations in ID authentication. There will be a new dedicated mini-program in the IM Smart mobile app as well as a one-stop online service platform. For example, users will be able to conduct transactions or register their accounts anytime and anywhere across multiple platforms such as desktop and computers. After corporate users become a user or account holder of IM Smart, they will be able to register to use Corp ID. Corporate users without Hong Kong residency but hold a passport can apply for and use a personal digital certificate issued by a Hong Kong RCA for personal ID authentication, and then register an account and use the Corp ID functions within the mini program or on the one-stop online service platform. Based on the user pays principle, in the longer run, the government will set reasonable fee levels for corporate users to recover the relevant costs of operating the platform. Will also take into consideration affordability of SMEs as well as the time needed to launch the e-services to set the fees at a reasonable and attractive level to encourage active use by users and e-service providers. Will adopt an open mind to encourage corporate users to use the platform, and the relevant arrangements will be finalized by Q4 this year. The platform will employ a series of protection measures, which include multi-layered defense and protection measures, and will also make use of government cloud infrastructure services. We'll move with the times by adopting, for example, the public key infrastructure as well as advanced encryption standard to make sure that information will not be tampered with. Prior to the launch of the platform, there will be comprehensive security assessment as well as audits. There will also be red team tests for cybersecurity defense. There will also be assessment done by third party to make sure that the platform is reliable and safe. Also, IRD as well as company registry will help verify the information source to make sure that information on the platform is safe and reliable. Also, corporate users must undergo our vetting procedure before they are allowed to provide information. We have consulted various regulatory bodies and authorities to make sure that we'll be able to cope with the risks. Also, we'll make sure that the platform will comply with the laws. We will strictly comply with the Personal Data Privacy Ordinance to safeguard users' personal data security and privacy rights. In the first phase, the platform will be connected to 200 e-government services as well as forms. Any digital services from the government will have to support Corp ID within 18 months after its launch. In terms of other services, we'll work with Cyberport, HKMA, the Science Park, as well as the Productivity Council to support the digital businesses and services of corporations. We will also explore with various sectors to see how we can make use of Corp ID. For example, there is the Cargo X project. Towards the end of 2025, we rolled out a Corp ID Sandbox program to provide free simulated environment for service providers interested in adopting Corp ID to conduct POC testing. Currently, about 100 service providers have taken part in the Sandbox program, and that covers account opening at banks as well as other application scenarios. In terms of publicity and promotion, we will continue to, through various channels, extensively consult various stakeholders. We will also conduct working group meetings as well as industry groups to tell people about the benefits of the platform. We'll also work with accountants as well as lawyers to encourage them to make use of the digital signing function of Corp ID platform so that the traditional services could be done on the platform. We'll also make use of our website as well as social media platforms, and will work with different industry associations to promote the platform to facilitate digital transformation.
The Corp ID platform's development has entered its final stage. We plan to commence platform integration and testing middle of this year, and we have a target to launch this platform at the end of 2026 and then progressively expand the service scope. We expect that in 2028, all corporate-related e-government services and government forms will support the use of Corp ID. That's it for our presentation. Thank you. We have 43 odd minutes left for the meeting. We have 10 members having requested to speak. Let me read out the order in which members are going to speak. Mr. Nick Chen, Mr. Moon Kit, Mr. Ray Wong, Mr. Robert Lee, Mr. Chen Siu Hung, Mr. Lam Chen Sing, Mr. Augustine Wang, Mr. Albert Trang, Mr. Liu Kuang Yu, Mr. Chen Yong. I'll assign a 4-minute time limit. Please observe the time limit. Questions and answers included. Mr. Nick Chen. Chair, we have in the mainland some concerns are raised about ghost firms for delivery services, so people don't even know who is actually doing the business. And with Corp ID, I can see that there is good progress. I want to ask if the Corp ID platform will cover non-corporations, for example, law firms, the judiciary. I'm guessing they will be covered, but if that is the case, we really need to make clear the definition to make sure we can align with the standards of LEI and the standards of the mainland and overseas. I'm not sure if we will see Corp ID as a platform to support governance and enhance enterprise certification. What is the positioning? Thank you. All right, 2 questions. Under Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for the questions. For Corp ID, as long as a company is registered under the company's ordinance or they have registered as a sole proprietorship or partnership under the business registration ordinance, they will be covered. But as we launch the Corp ID and run the Corp ID platform, we will conduct a review a year and a half later after the launch to see if we can cover other groups such as those under the society's ordinance. We believe there will be a gradual expansion, but I believe most in the accountancy and legal sectors would have already been covered by the ordinances, for example, the company's ordinance and the business registration ordinance. The legal sector is indeed a key stakeholder, and we hope to hold a thematic seminar for the legal sector because many of the firms will be able to make good use of the platform services such as digital signing and certification. As for LEI, we plan to have Corp ID include some widely used identifiers such as LEI and DUNS number, so that we can allow for interconnectivity with these commonly adopted standards. This can also help us align with standards in the GBA in the mainland and overseas. This can enhance reliability in trading. It also facilitates data interoperability. Thank you. Any follow-up questions? None. Mr. Moon Kit. Thank you, Chair. I very much support the RTIB's launch of the COP ID platform to further develop digital economy and provide a more favorable business environment. It is said in 2028 we will have a target that all corporate-related e-government services and government forms support the use of COP ID. Do we have coordination among government departments on this to make sure this happens? Also, as the Undersecretary said, we want to have alignment of standards with different regions, especially within the GBA. Will there be a concrete timeline? When will the pilot arrangements launch? I think the biggest concern is with alignment of rules and regulations. How can we make sure we have data security? Can we go back to the first slide? I just want to say this. There are two questions, Undersecretary. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. for the questions. We strive for approximately 200 G2B and B2B services made available on the platform. As for what the members said about how we can make sure we have the 800 odd e-government services and government forms support the use of COP ID, how we can make this happen. This is actually a government policy, so it is made mandatory that with the launch of the COP ID platform within 18 months, the departments, as long as they have connectivity with businesses, they need to make sure such services are made available on the COP ID platform unless there are some legal restrictions that they cannot allow for this connectivity or allow for this connectivity in the short term. So these related services for businesses will be made available on the COP ID platform. We also want to make sure there is good interoperability. For example, a lot of businesses have to file their tax returns. So we already have a business tax portal, and we have been encouraging enterprises to file tax returns online. In future, this business tax portal will be linked with COP ID so people can register in a one-stop manner to apply to file taxes, as well as actually file the tax returns or renew their business registrations. We also note that in the business sector, there are many different operations that would involve the checking of company registration and business registration. The COP ID is very useful in this regard because we have coordinated with the IRD and companies registry to make these services available on COP ID platform with connections to the databases of companies registry and the IRD. So if some organizations have to do some transactions with enterprises, or the registrations have to be checked, or some information of the government is needed by the businesses, it can be easily done on COP ID. It will not require businesses to submit further proof documents. As long as they are connected to the COP ID platform, they can travel on this digital highway or expressway to get such things done. And say for MPF or port community system and the trade single window being connected to the commercial data interchange, it would expedite trade financing by banks. These are all in the pipeline. As for what the members said about how we can encourage businesses participation and our target, we think hard quantity is not the most important. Even with just a few services available, but businesses find it really useful to make use of such services, they will participate. So we think we should start with quality of the services. And as I said earlier, we have already plans to incorporate LEI and DUNS number. It should facilitate our connectivity with the mainland and overseas. We have already some sort of connectivity with the Greater Bay Area as well as Shanghai and other mainland cities, but we can't disclose the details at the moment. Perhaps when we're allowed to, we'll disclose more. Thank you. Mr. Ray Wong, thank you. I Am Smart has proven to be quite useful, and people had great expectations for Corp ID. We've been waiting for so long, and in fact, we already have related services in the mainland, and that's Tianyan Cha. I think many members have asked some very valid questions. I think I would like to mention something different with tendering. We want to make sure we don't have any potential issues with tendering. Next, on say cargo X or connectivity to the IRD's databases on filing taxes as well as MPF information. With the different kinds of information, we will be able to form a comprehensive scoring, and this is really useful to the accountancy sector. I hope that this function can be provided as soon as possible, perhaps even in 2027 instead of 2028, so as to benefit different stakeholders. I also believe we will be able to reduce much paperwork. So both in terms of manpower as well as cost, I hope that the fees will be reduced so that businesses can have more affordable services. I believe the first two suggestions, I will see if the Undersecretary wants to respond to that. I will ask Mr. Daniel Chung to respond to the relevant comments. I think we have the same direction as the member. We have already working with, say, the Cyberport to have concept testing of the different application scenarios. We believe with Corp ID, we should be able to realize sufficient for our citizens. At the end of this year, we plan to launch 200 odd services, and the Digital Policy Office will work with different departments under the Sandbox program to see if we can provide more convenient and efficient digital services. Any follow-up questions? Well, can they respond to the point about lower fee levels due to the reduction in manpower and work? We are working with the departments to make sure there is great efficiency. But there are certain requirements for service quality, and if there is increased workload in the end, and if they are working on existing manpower level, we understand the departments may need a certain level of resources to provide great services. I understand departments would deploy unnecessary manpower elsewhere.
Yeah. I
Next, Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to thank the administration. As the administration conceptualized the platform, it communicated with the business and industrial sectors to collect their feedback. I have several concerns. First, for enterprises that have joined the precious metal trader scheme. Well, I don't know if you have talked to the IRD, the Custom and Excise Department, or other government departments. I want to know if you are going to roll out measures to facilitate businesses for precious metal traders. Also, just now you talked about account opening as well as KYC processes that could be done through the platform. For financial institutions that aren't banks, have you talked to futures and securities firms and traders about this platform so that their databases or platforms can be connected with that of the IRD as well as the company registry? Also, you talked about the fee levels. Can you tell us a bit about your thoughts about the fee levels? Well, you want more people to use the platform so that you can accumulate more data. If you're not going to roll out any fee waivers and that you're going to impose a fee, corporations may be hesitant to use the platform. Can there be a fee waiver at the initial phase? If not, would you consider imposing a lower fee level so as to incentivize corporations to use the platform? A couple of questions. First, about precious metal trading. Second, about non-bank financial institutions. And third, about fee level. Administration. Yes, we have been liaising with the Customs and Excise Department, as mentioned. The Trade Single Window platform of the CNED will be connected to the Corp ID platform. Say there are businesses engaging in import and export trade, and they have to provide a lot of document for customs declaration. With this platform, these businesses can provide documents online. And with the Corp ID platform, businesses can benefit further. For example, with the Corp ID, businesses can have access to the commercial data interchange of the HKMA. And so they will have access to, for example, banks as well as other commercial platforms. So through commercial data interchange, businesses will be able to obtain other kinds of data, as well as the data provided by government departments. The member mentioned about the precious metal trading scheme, and in future, relevant traders will be able to make use of the platform to facilitate their businesses. As for other kinds of services that are not currently covered by the platform, we are willing to explore them. Also, apart from banks, currently under the Sandbox program, we cover over 100 private and public organizations. 43% of licensed banks in Hong Kong are currently participating in the Sandbox program. Thanks to members, we've been able to hold briefing sessions for the relevant sectors. We hope to include securities as well as futures trader as well. Just now, the member mentioned KYC. This is a very good tool. The Corp ID platform will help facilitate the KYC processes, account opening, a loan taking, as well as the relevant approval procedure. As for the fee level, I agree with what the member said. The overarching principle is that we're going to adhere to the user pays principle. As we decide on the fee level, we will take into consideration various factors. We want to strike a balance here. In the long run, we want to recover the costs of operating the platform. On the other hand, we want to see how we can make better use of the platform so as to facilitate digital transformations of corporations. Also, we have to consider the affordability of SMEs as well as the time for all e-government services and the relevant services to be rolled out. So we will tread carefully. We will take into consideration various factors. We want to offer more incentives in the initial phase to attract enterprises and corporations to make use of this platform. This is the direction that we're going to take. I want to declare interest. The organization that I serve engage with securities businesses and trading as well as precious metal trading. Mr. Chen Xiu-hong. Chairman, you may recall that in the previous panel meeting, we discussed how we can make better use of IM Smart. Earlier, there were unscrupulous individuals in Hong Kong that made use of IM Smart as well as digital payment tools to commit frauds and as well as money laundering. And so victims as well as members of the public have a very low awareness of data security and privacy protection. In future, there might be high risks in business-to-business transactions under this platform. We always look at the practice in Singapore. They have SingPass, and this function has been rolled out for years. According to media reports, fraud syndicates in Singapore, in order to make themselves more convincing, they recruit a large number of citizens to procure SingPass, to register bank accounts for high-risk transactions. Apart from paragraph 18, I want to know the DPO as it consulted the Hong Kong Police Force as well as the HKMA and other regulatory bodies. Did you talk about coming up with a dynamic assessment or relevant reporting mechanism? Commissioner. Thank you, Chairman. In relation to the security of the Corp ID platform, where we attach great importance to it, as Mr. Chen said, we made reference to the safety features of IM Smart. For example, there are authentication measures as well as multiple layer authentication and verification. We conduct regular testing, and also we look at if there are any abnormal behaviors of users on the Corp ID platform. We also check the account status from time to time if there are accounts that have been left idle for a long time, and also if there are suddenly frequent transactions of accounts during odd hours, we would be vigilant and we might freeze the account or the relevant transaction procedure immediately based on the nature of the transaction or the activities being carried out. If users notice that the account is stolen, then there are also measures in place to freeze the account immediately. Users will have to reactivate the account through a number of steps. These are to prevent accounts from being stolen or being abused. We will also make use of AI to detect any abnormal logins or transactions. If we detect such suspicious activities, we would notify the relevant corporations immediately to step up the protection measures. Mr. Chen was right that we need to step up people's awareness of cybersecurity. So after the launch of the Corp ID platform, for participating corporations as well as members of the public, we will tell them the relevant risks. We would remind them not to disclose their user accounts to other parties so that they could better protect their accounts. Next, Mr. Lam Chun Sing. Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to learn about the Sandbox program. It is said that there are over 100 government departments and public and private organizations taking part in the program. I want to know how many private enterprises are participating in the program. I don't want to just see government departments joining the program. In the long run, we want more enterprises to make use of the COP ID platform. As you may recall, it did not only take us 1 to 2 years to promote the use of IM Smart. It is only now that we have about 4 million citizens making use of IM Smart. We want to attract enterprises, especially SMEs, in the future to make use of the platform. I want the government to step up publicity in this regard. Will you set a KPI, for example, within 3 years' time, you want a certain number of corporations or enterprises to register an account on the platform and make use of the platform? The more the merrier. Second, I'd like to follow up on the question asked by Mr. Robert Lee about the fee level. According to the paper, you will adhere to the user pays principle. The Finance Committee approved a funding of $3 million for the administration to build the COP ID platform. Are you going to at least recover the $3 million, or are you just going to recover the yearly costs for maintaining and repairing the platform? In the initial phase, we would like to see more corporations and enterprises using the platform. Will you, for example, roll out an early bird scheme? Say corporations registering to use the platform during the first 3 years, they can get a fee waiver. With more and more corporate users in the future, you may want to impose a fee so as to recover the costs. With more corporate users in the future, it will be more cost effective for you to operate the platform. So can you try to impose a low fee for corporate users? A couple of questions. Recovering of costs is one of them. Under Secretary. Thank you, Chairman. I thank the member for the questions. The first question is about the Sandbox program. About half of the participants are public and private organizations. So you see that the program has been quite well received. Participants cover those from the banking sector, INT sector, as well as e-payment platforms. There are also accountants as well as consultants. There are also members from the IT sector as well as the healthcare sector. To give you an example, from the banking or the financial sector, we have digital banks joining Sandbox program. Application scenarios could cover how we can help SMEs open accounts, how we can facilitate their KYC procedure. Also, this could speed up loan taking as well as approval of loans. Also, for fintech, there could be one-stop visible platform. As for accountants, this platform could help them with ComSec. Digital signing of documents is also an important function of COP ID. We see that members from different sectors are desperate for this function. The Sandbox program also covers other sectors. We have LEI as well as DUNS number featured on the platform, so this could help facilitate organizations conduct credit rating. Also, the Cyberport, the Productivity Council, as well as the Science Park and even the HKMA have been working proactively to dovetail with our platform. Also, by the time we launch the program, there will be 200 services that support the use of COP ID. Moving forward, we hope that more members from the private sector will use the COP ID platform, especially those from the financial sector, those from the ComSec sector, as well as the legal sector, because ComSec is frequently used by SMEs. So we hope to attract more enterprises to register an account on the platform. An important strategy that we adopt is that we are working with the IRD, the company registry, so that we can have their information incorporated into the platform to attract corporate users. Just now, the member raised a very good suggestion about rolling out an early bird scheme. We will look into that.
Mr. Augustine Wong. Thank you, Chair. I have 3 questions. I believe the government system is going to be secure, but then if something happens, will there be compensation for enterprises? Now, there are a lot of enterprises that may have over 100 wholly owned subsidiaries. Is it the case that each and every subsidiary will need an account of their own, or is it that with the mother company having one, it would be fine? I also note in the end we want to have cross-boundary interoperability. Is there a timeline for this? Thank you. 3 questions. Under Secretary. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Wong. I'll respond to 2 of the questions and then I'll ask the Acting Commissioner to answer the remaining one. The first is on whether there will be compensation for enterprises should there be problems. Let me clarify something here. The COP ID platform is a platform. It is a tool. It provides facilitation by digitalizing processes. It allows for seamless operation where people can do operations online. They do not have to submit documents in person. They can do different operations online, but they do not replace the actual functions. It is just a platform providing facilitation. It does not replace decision making. It does not replace the roles played by different bodies in the first place. Enterprises can make use of this platform for convenience, but it does not mean one needs to do certain businesses via COP ID, so there's no compensation. With the different companies, I'll perhaps ask the Acting Commissioner to answer that question because we have different director arrangements. As for cross-boundary interoperability, we have been discussing with different regions on connectivity arrangements. We have different standards to align with. We hope to report some good news when it's time for announcements to be made. We will have subsidiaries have their own corp ID, so they need to select their particular companies when setting up the corp ID. Any follow-up questions? I want to follow up on the compensation question. Would you refer to the arrangements in the Electronic Transactions Ordinance? Second, as I said earlier, a company can have 100 subsidiaries. Can the main company deal with the 100 subsidiaries operations within the account? I understand that you would want different ID for the different subsidiaries, but is it possible to have a single account deal with the other accounts operations on the platform? Mr. Benny Leung. Thank you. On compensation, we will have corp ID and certificate issued to each entity, and their compensation arrangements on the Electronic Transactions Ordinance will apply. But as the Undersecretary said, because we do not actually involve ourselves in the deal-making process, so there will not be any additional compensation. As for subsidiaries, we rely on the information provided by the IRD and the company's registration for the registration of accounts on a Corp ID platform, there is some sort of verification mechanism to make sure we have verified the person in charge's identity before we can open that Corp ID account. And with one having logged on to iAmSmart, they can just select the particular service they need on the platform. But of course, with the filing of taxes, they would have to go on a company basis. They can't have one single company filing taxes for every company. But we'll try to provide as much facilitation as possible. Mr. Lee Kuang Yu, thank you, Chair. I'm very happy to see that the platform is being launched. I want to ask how much is needed to have all functions available. For some companies that do not have IT teams, it can be hard for them to implement this. So will there be a same level of fees for different enterprises of different scales? If we need an independent certificate, if a company has 1,000 subsidiaries, would you really need to charge for on a per certificate basis, or will you allow for some sort of concessions based on the size? Undersecretary. Thank you, Chair. I do note the concern on fee levels. As I said earlier, we'll be prudent and consider different factors in determining the fee levels. We hope to, at the beginning, encourage more enterprises to make use of the platform. We also talked about other considerations. For example, the different enterprise sizes, different categories of enterprises. We will consider those, but we're more inclined to provide some incentives in the beginning. We are definitely not trying to profit from the operations. We're just trying to recover the costs of the operations of the platform. We're not trying to recover the 300 million startup cost. We're just trying to recover the operational costs. In the end, we just want to provide facilitation to enterprises, especially SMEs. Chair, I have a follow-up question. I had a question that was unanswered. Would it be hard for SMEs without IT teams to implement this? And with certificates, as I said earlier, if there is a company that has 1,000 subsidiaries, would it mean that the fee is 1,000-fold of the fee set for a single certificate? All right, 2 questions. The first question is usability. Is it going to be hard for small and medium and micro-sized enterprises to implement this? And whether we will have batch concessions for certificates? I will let Mr. Daniel Chung answer the relevant questions. Under the Sandbox program, the services are free, and we heard some feedback that the potential service providers, as we already have experience in iAmSmart, we can provide some modular API to enterprises, and they found that the development costs are quite low. So there isn't much in operational cost. As for certificates, we adopt a user's pay principle, and indeed, getting a certificate would mean for incurring operational cost. As the Undersecretary said, we want to make good use of the platform. So while we do adopt a user's pay principle, we want to reduce the cost to just recover operational costs. Chair, if you don't mind, I want to provide more information about other regions' practices. On costs, for example, the member mentioned Singapore Corp Pass is a mandatory arrangement, so all eligible enterprises can use the services for free. But there is some caveat. It only provides G2B services, but we also provide B2B services. This is one significant difference. With Corp Pass, some government departments will provide some e-services to private sector partners. They will charge fees based on the number of transactions and the type of companies or organizations. Corp Pass only provides authentication and certification services. They do not provide document wallet or digital signing functions that we provide. We have other mainland services provide G2B services. They provide them for free, but if companies want to perform digital signing, they need to purchase the digital certificates. So with the certificate and the authentication of an employee, it would be 100 RMB per year. For each additional staff member's authentication, it would cost 100 RMB. As I said earlier, our guiding principle is to have a user's pay-based approach, and we want to recover the operational costs, but we will make sure the fees are reasonable and they are attractive. All right, it's now 5:26. We have one member who is going to speak for the first round and another member wanting to speak for the second round. I will extend the meeting by 10 minutes. Mr. Chen Yung, thank you. I think the platform is definitely supported. We also want to connect to the government services in Guangdong and Shanghai. Is there a timeline for such connectivity? It will be easier for us to expand the arrangements after launching the relevant services. Is there any plan to connect to other region services? The Undersecretary said at the beginning, with the charging of fees, you want to provide more incentives for participation. But can we do it like iOwn Smart? We can provide the services for free, and then we can based on market demand, provide specific services while charging fees. 2 questions. Undersecretary. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for the questions. Just like other members, Mr. Chen is very concerned about how we can expedite connectivity with other mainland cities' services. We will strive for this to happen as soon as possible. We want to have some concrete proposals within the next 1 to 2 years. We thank different members for making different suggestions for us to get companies on board. For example, early bird concessions, or working with different enterprises or bodies, or maybe implementing a membership program. I think as long as we can provide facilitation to enterprises to make use of Corp ID, we are more than willing to consider the different suggestions. We have, through Sandbox program as well as previous liaison with different industrial and sectoral associations, Hong Kong MA, HKICP, and as Mr. Nick Chan in the legal sector, Law Society, and the Bar Association, to do this. We hope that through members we can do more promotion in different sectors. And when there are large-scale activities, we'll set up booths to promotion as well. Thank you, Chair. All right, Mr. Chen Su-tong speaking for the second round.
Thank you, Chairman, for allowing me to speak for the second round. I actually have many questions, but some of them have been raised by other members. I'm not going to repeat them. I have a rather specific question. I've talked to enterprises and they welcome this Corp ID platform. Also, they're concerned about the actual operation of the platform. Paragraph 15 of the paper says the Corp ID platform will set up a one-stop online service platform, as well as a new dedicated mini program in the IM Smart mobile app. This will allow corporate users to authorize their staff to conduct transactions or submit applications. For enterprises that need to authorize their staff to conduct certain businesses, these staff often make use of their personal mobile phones. So enterprises would rather give their staff a company phone and these staff will have to incorporate their own IM Smart account into their work phones. So I'm not sure if there will be any level of flexibility in this regard as you design the platform. Will you allow enterprises to authorize their staff to make use of IM Smart, but then staff will not have to use their personal phones to use the IM Smart account? It is a question about operation. Benny Leung? Yes, we did take this into consideration when we designed the platform. We said that there will be a new mini program in the IM Smart mobile app, and that's for identity verification. Once the identity is verified and you log into the Corp ID platform, you can do away with the login procedure afterwards, and everything can be done on the platform. That means if there are companies that do not wish their staff to make use of their own personal phones to log into IM Smart, they can make use of the website that supports the use of the IM Smart through a QR code. And they can use the QR code to log into the platform. I thank the member for the questions and the comment. We will, in the coming few months, try to take consideration into the convenience as well as the safety of the platform as we continue to proceed with the design. Chairman, I have another question about cross-border transactions. Paragraph 14 says that the government is working proactively to reach agreements with the mainland authorities. I remember that when we were looking at this proposal, the funding proposal for this project, I'm not sure if the administration could ensure that the back-end system could be interfaced with the system of the mainland counterparts. Say the administration manages to reach a deal with the mainland counterparts, would it have to come back to LegCo to apply for another funding? I hope that you won't reach a deal with the mainland counterparts and end up having to apply for another funding because you have to restructure the Corp ID platform. Under Secretary, I will give a simple answer, then I'll ask Mr. Leung to supplement. I'd like to stress that as we try to dovetail our system with that of the mainland counterparts, for example, Yueshangtong or the Shanghai Government Service Platform, we're just talking about the interfacing. It's not that the two systems will have any transactions involved. It's just that the two systems will be able to verify each other's identity so that any users that have to carry out businesses or transactions on the mainland through this Corp ID platform, they can be connected to the Shanghai and Guangzhou platform for the transactions. So the transactions will be conducted on the mainland platforms. I'll ask Mr. Leung to supplement. Our thought is that we want to make use of the Corp ID platform to interface with Yueshangtong and other mainland platforms. We want to ensure mutual recognition of our system and the system on the mainland. We hope that we can enable users to prefill forms, for example, with the interfacing. Also, to respond to members' questions, we abide by certain technical standards as we develop the platform. We use decentralized ID, for example, as we strive to interface with the systems on the mainland. As far as I understand, the mainland sticks to the same standards as well. There will be various services that could be used on the platform. We will pay attention to the usage rate. If the usage rate is high, we will boost the capacity of the platform. So after we have dovetailed with the platforms on the mainland, we will keep in view the usage rate as well. In the interest of time, I'm not going to raise any questions. To summarize what the members said, members are most concerned about the actual operation of the platform, so please pay attention to this. I Am Smart are for individual users, but the Corp ID platform will be made use of by corporations. So are we going to have individuals or corporations as the unit? I think the administration has to think about that. Members are also concerned about the future fee levels. While you want to recover costs, would you try to contain the cost so as not to make it too expensive for corporations as you are going to make use of blockchain technology? Third, members are concerned about cross-border trading as well. So please take these into account. Now we have finished the Q&A session. I thank the government officials for attending this meeting. Now we move on to the last item, any other business. There being no other business, meeting adjourned. Thank you.